Okay, greetings, brothers and sisters. Today is Tuesday, July 1st. And where the frick did June go? What happened to June? I can't believe how fast time has flown by. I've been having a weird month anyway. So here's my Spotify channel here. And this is what it looks to you you guys. Pockets of the Future and Apocalypse Now. And that these are the videos here. The videos on in terms of what I would see or you would see, I think you have to be a member. Okay, greetings, brother. I think you have to be a member or something to do. Like I uploaded video files on my feed. Here's what I see, and these are all video files here with thumbnails, different thumbnails. But what you guys see is something different. I don't know. There's a way to get it monetized. I need thousands of hours and just all these things, which I don't know I'll get. And it's nobody's, I mean, no, there's nobody there. Like I've had like one or two views, and those are me that I've clicked on a video. So, but anyways, I'm on Spotify. Um, that's the first thing. Okay, so this is my Apocalypse Now channel, which I've been posting videos on it, but that's probably short-lived. So this was my recently upload. I have one I haven't published about Will Smith likes girls, Lizzo likes Ozempic, and there's a Island Boy likes girls with I want to say chlamydia, but I think it's yeast infections. Um, and there's more there, but the the problem here is this. Um, I started posting. This one got a little bit more views. I'll make this one public probably today. Um, but this was my coming back to the channel. So 3,000 views. It's a little bit less than I would get on a bad day on Pockets of the Future. The next video got 1,800 views, and then 500 views, 700 views, and 1,700. The issue here is more the money, though. You can see there's the view count, right? This is whatever it is. There's 2,000 one day. The money, it got $7 one day, and then $10 the next. Then it dropped to 3. It's cents over here. This is just me not posting anything. 2 cents, 5 cents. Then $1, and then went down. I didn't post anything for a couple of days. 20 cents. Then I posted something, and then it went up to $2.92 because it didn't get any views. Back down to $1, $2.78, $1.41, and then this went to $10. So, the days I post videos, and the videos are, at best it's $10, and it's just not worth it for me. They're not running either quality ads or as many ads on this channel. They have the way of just prejudicing against you, against your channel. And so, like no matter what I do here, if YouTube's, I got a community guideline strike here more recently, and I don't know, YouTube somehow dislikes this channel more than Pockets of the Future. Now, Pockets of the Future isn't getting premium ads and isn't a premium channel, but this is the algorithms, and YouTube views this channel as 2 or 3 steps below Pockets of the Future. So it's, even if I get the same amount of views over here, which I don't know why I'm not, it's just a whole thing. So it's probably short-lived. I might post one video a week here. I was going to do a whole thing, like I was going to do a series of, ads, short videos with ads, like just focus on ads and things like this. But, here's where people are saying they want to watch short videos, and these videos are shorter, for the most part. And they're not, so whatever. And even if they do watch them, the YouTube doesn't compensate me as much over here. This is why I went full-time over Pockets of the Future, so there's all that. Same thing with Spotify. It's just an extra thing for me to do. I'm just uploading videos. It's not that much of a hassle, but it's a little bit of a hassle. And so, we'll see what happens. But more than likely, I'll just end up doing what I was doing in the beginning. This was all kind of suggested to me by ChatGPT. But if the problem is, as long as YouTube is suppressing the channel, and starting over is always tough, and starting from the beginning on Spotify, it's just, I don't know, it's just whatever it is. We'll see. It's just like I've been doing this too long to start over. But whatever. So that's my channel stuff. So I want to cover the big, beautiful bill. I'm not sure if it has passed yet. I think it is going to pass. Chip Roy is just another ambitious guy with no talent. I hope some talented challengers are getting ready in the great state of Texas to go after Chip. In a primary, he won't have a chance. And I guess Chip has decided not to run. But Trump is threatening people, like he's publicly threatening people. In terms of if they don't vote for him, they're just going to go after him. And, Trump didn't read this bill. He didn't write the bill. He didn't read it. He doesn't know what's in it. It's just that it's a Trump bill. And, he's not only delusional. I don't know what the right word is to describe him, but he's not, he doesn't have anything. Like he doesn't have anything to fucking, like he believes almost in magic, that he's not a dogma person. He doesn't have a belief system. He believes in himself, and he believes his own fucking hype until he doesn't. He believes his own bullshit. But if you don't have a vision and you have people around you and you're not even sure about things and you don't do a lot of research and you don't have a lot of depth in your internal and who you are as a person. You just, think that everything's going to go your way. And, these bills, this is a horrible bill. Now, if you guys remember, I covered this about, 3 weeks ago maybe, when the Elon Musk thing was blowing up, and Elon Musk is coming back in. We'll get to that in a moment. But, what I found out was that there was somebody sent me a video of some young woman who uploaded all of the bill into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT hammered this bill as some kind of dystopian fucking take down democracy type fucking bill. Big spending, adding massive amount of debt, and her shifting wealth from the poor to the wealthy, just all these things. And and Trump doesn't know what it is. And Trump is pushing it because it's his big beautiful bill, a bill he doesn't know anything about. It just has his name. It's like he's licensing his image and his endorsement of something. You guys write a bill for me, and it's just whatever, But he has no idea, and it's just passing because of that. Like it's and that these guys are scared of what's going to happen if they vote against it or whatever it is. The Republicans, it's like so fucked. This is like Joe Biden level stuff where they. Trump is so disinterested, and his team of people are just so fucking, taint lickers, Trump taint lickers, that none of them are going to say, hey, this is a fucking disaster of a policy. I usually don't comment about these things, so who gives a fuck? But after listening to ChatGPT's, as a interpretation of this fucking thing, I was like, holy shit, right? It's like a devil bill, right?
Weeks after he said he will step back from politics to focus on his businesses, Elon Musk is back in the fray, again publicly bashing this Republican mega bill. In a social media post yesterday, Musk wrote, "It is obvious with the insane spending of this bill, which increases the debt ceiling by a record $5 trillion, that we live in a one-party country, the Porky Pig Party," he writes. Time for a new political party that actually cares about the people. Musk followed up with another post calling for the creation of the America Party if the, quote, insane spending bill passes. Musk then continued his online rant, writing any lawmaker who votes for the mega bill, quote, should hang their head in shame. He threatened to primary those politicians next year, quote, if it is the last thing I do on this earth. President Trump, as you can imagine, responded.
Okay, so let me read this whole thing because I'm going to just. Elon Musk knew long before he so strongly endorsed me for president that I was strongly against the EV mandate. It's ridiculous and always has been a major part of my campaign. Electric cars are fine, but not everyone should be forced to own one. Elon might get more subsidy than any human being in history by far, and without subsidies, Elon would probably have to close up shop and head back to South Africa. No more rocket launches, satellites, or electric car production, and our country would save a fortune. Perhaps we have Dodge take a good hard look at this big money to be saved. At this big money to be saved in caps. Donald Trump is like threatening him, right? Like these are threats. For a bill that he doesn't know anything about and doesn't give a shit. Like, well, it's going to affect America because he's a total piece of shit. And the majority of his people are against it. Like the Republicans, this bill, and once it starts kicking in, and the tariffs are kicking in. There's a thing I had. I don't know if I posted it, but it was on FedEx, and they're not having as many packages. Like there's going to be a decrease in, the tariffs are having an effect. I've noticed things are not being there in the grocery store. They've changed things that they used to. There's starting to be shortages. And, like this dystopian Trumpathon, obliteration, right? And so, like, just an absolute piece of shit, go down like a piece of shit. And the Trumpers, I don't know how, many of them are finally fucking waking up, but, the dumb fucks, right? They're not MAGA people, they're the dumb fucks. And, this is, again, it's going to happen, but it looks like it's going to happen, and it's going to be a disaster.
Good hard look at this. Big money to be saved, writes the President of the United States in a post overnight, Ali Vitali. So, Elon Musk
Ali Vitali
has expressed, Ali, his dismay about this bill previously, then walked back a little bit from his personal criticism of Donald Trump, but now kind of getting back to the policy on the debt and the deficit. Obviously, he has invested interest in this bill not passing. Does this matter at all? Does pressure from Elon Musk matter if he says he's going to primary anyone who votes for it?
So when there was the initial explosion of the personal relationship between Musk and Trump, there was the entertainment factor of watching these two men go back and forth on social media. But then there was also the more tangible threat of what will Musk do with his money? The power of the Musk purse was so tangible and palpable.
Okay, so there's that. So then there's this here.
Elon Musk is getting back into it and delivered his starkest political threat that we've seen, where he is taking aim at Republicans in Congress. He posted this earlier, saying every member of
We saw this thing here. Let's go to.
How much longer do you expect this to go tonight?
It's all in the hands of the Republicans. Have they cut a deal? Because right now, it's not just the number of votes. Democrats have got plenty of amendments. The Republicans are stretching them out. So every vote, instead of being 10-minute votes or 15-minute votes like we often do in votaramas, the vote on Planned Parenthood ran for an hour, that they kept it open. And we all presume that's because they're all behind closed doors trying to figure out how they get the votes to get this thing through.
So you think that they're also helping stretch this out because they don't have the votes for a final passage right now?
Well, why else would they be stretching it out?
Why would they be, Elizabeth Pocahontas Warren?
If they actually have their votes, why wouldn't they be on the floor right now?
Why would they? It's fucking crazy.
Rushing us through our
It's like
amendments.
conspiracy.
And then going to the vote. Look, the bottom line stays the same. When you read the bill, and the Democrats insisted that the bill be read aloud, it's nearly $1 trillion in cuts to Medicaid. And that means little tiny babies who run up $1 million worth of medical bills in their first month of life. That's cuts that actually are there right now, that Medicaid program, to help them. Your neighbor who got in a car accident and now needs a wheelchair and a home health.
Okay, there's some point where she talks about Musk here. I don't know where that is. Hell has frozen over. Elizabeth Warren says she agrees with Elon Musk over mega bill. So that's, and I don't want to listen to Elizabeth Warren to find out when she actually says that.
lose care. But it's going to hit
I don't know where it is. So there's you know, it's not a popular bill. So anyway, she says something about that, and we don't need to hear her say it because I have the quote right up here. But anyways, for Trump to be threatening Elon Musk again, like he's saying, if you speak up, I'll take away your subsidies. Well, if his subsidies suck, why aren't you taking them away already? You piece of shit. Why aren't you taking them away if you're only doing it when he says something bad about you? You're a fucking narcissistic piece of shit, right? That's not a fucking, and we all know that already, but understand what's being said here. You can have your subsidies, Elon, as long as you keep your fucking mouth shut. Are the subsidies good or bad for the country, right? Are the subsidies something you should have got rid of, but you only do it if he criticizes you? So that's what Trump is. As a fucking person, and he's a horrible fucking person, right? And a bad president. So I'm probably not gonna post a video today. This one will be up on Wednesday, so Thursday I might skip. I'm not sure. There might be a few days. I got a bunch of stuff to do. I got kind of a off track yesterday. So who knows? Or they might be shorter videos. I kind of been putting out too much content anyway. So we'll see what happens. It's just that's just so people know. I got one or two more things to get to here. So Elon Musk reposted this. I scrolled through his Twitter here. Mind-blowing federal budget breakdown, 6.16 trillion spending versus 4.47 trillion revenue. And the problem with this also is there's unfunded liabilities, Social Security and some of these other things. And, they're cutting Medicaid, right? So if they're cutting Medicaid and Medicare, whatever, and there's this much spending, then what the fuck are they spending it on, right? Which people know. People know, and it's, whatever bad shit that he's doing, Trump's doing. And again, it's not his bill. The government fiscal 2003 numbers reveal massive deficit spending that would make any sane business owner cringe. And so, the problem with all this stuff here, PewDiePie joins in. PewDiePie said something about the spending bill. There's $37 trillion time bomb. Take a look at the U.S. national debt from the 1900 to 2020. The issue with this is the Republicans know this is a piece of shit bill. They would totally pass this thing. And, just for Trump and being loyal Trumpers. If this was just a regular, just shitty bill, it wasn't a massive fucking deficit creating a dystopian bill. And they know that if this is, if the Democrats want it red on the House floor or the Senate floor, they know that it's a piece of shit bill. And, they would pass it otherwise, right? They've passed all this other bullshit. I mean, they put these guys in their positions, like Pete Hegseth, had so many red flags, Republican red flags. He was a fucking cheater, philanderer, cheating, and accused of sexual assault, drunk, showing up at work drunk, inexperienced, just fucking, he's a face, he's like one of these, people that go on fucking Fox News or some shit like that because of their, whatever persona. But he has no substance. He's not qualified for the job. And they passed him through. RFK Jr., I couldn't believe they got him through. I mean, I thought that they were going to lose on some of those, but they gave him every single one of them. They gave the Republican House and Senate gave Trump everything he wanted. And now they're hesitating on this bill because it fucking blows, right? And so, and Elon Musk is even bailing. And it's one of those things, they're doing it, and there's going to be repercussions politically. In 2 years, Trump will be out in terms of the Senate and the House, so he won't have a majority. and then all these things, and they'll go back to that bullshit that we had to live through before with impeachments and fucking, whatever they're trying to do to hold them accountable. But like, just as bad as the Democrats have been in the past so many years with Joe Biden and all this other shit, they're both, I mean, if there was any chance of a third party, which there isn't because they've boxed that shit out. They've legislated so you can't do that shit. But if they're, people are just dissatisfied. Like, the only other option are like riots at this point, because there's no political, party that's worth believing in. I mean, for everybody, like, everyone's like realizing what I've been talking about for years, that there's no fucking political solution here. And, they're willing to go all in on this thing and risk their political careers and whatever else is, because they're so scared of Trump. But still, he's not getting enough votes. Like, some people are realizing this is a piece of shit. Anyways, so there's that. So just to make sure, this is from 2023, right? And this was what the tax revenue was, and this is what the spending was. And he's, I don't know who this person is, but they reposted this, and that's from 2023, and we now know this is going to be worse with Trump's big, beautiful bill, which I've been talking about since 2014. I'm like, we're insolvent. Like, just fucking say it, right? Because this isn't something you can solve or cure. It's insolvent, right? This is insolvency. This is where I love my president. Elon Musk, all of these things, right? Elon Musk here. But no matter what he wants to say about Doge, and when Elon Musk finally realized that this was an issue, whatever his role in this is, you can ask Gronk about it. That I've been talking about this for years because, and I'm not the only person, obviously, and I'm not a financial genius, but I can figure out that this was fucked from the beginning. And so, and they're just coming to terms with this. That this is looting. This is looting what's left of American wealth. I said this in 2020. That Trump would, Trump or Joe Biden would be in charge of looting what was left of American wealth. And you see that playing out now because it had to. Like, this is there's no way to pay off the debt. So whatever happens, that's going to be dealt with in some way. And it's not just the $37 trillion debt, which will be up to 40 by the end of this year. It's not that. It's the $100 trillion of American debt. That's everybody's credit card debt, all that other shit, right? People, what they own on loans. We got $100 trillion worth of debt, and it's the 670 or whatever it is $1 trillion in derivatives market. It's the unpaid liabilities of $200 trillion that includes Medicaid and Social Security, unfunded liabilities that aren't part of the budget. And so with all this shit, it's like, the numbers just don't, I haven't added up for years. And when it first started getting bad was like 2008, sometime under Obama, where it was, there's no way we can pay this back. And it was already that way when they first, even $1 trillion of debt. But now it's $1 trillion of interest. So, it went up astronomically in the last so many years because they're looting what's left of American wealth. Okay, so I had this video in the can, I believe it's called, in Hollywood, when this video's done, rendered and ready to upload. But YouTube recommended this, and this is Trump just flat out threatening Elon.
He's upset that he's losing his EV mandate, and he's very upset about things, but...
Elon said it wasn't that. That might have some bearing on this. Like, he maybe felt like he did all this work and gave all this money and he's being fucked. But like what he said or other people said, that the EV mandate helps him because these other car companies need it and he doesn't. And that his company will be better off in terms of its competition. So that is whatever it is. You know how Trump always says this stuff, like what Trump said, that the media was insulting the troops or the pilots and how hurt feelings the pilots have. He just fucking lies and makes up shit, straw man arguments. And it's for dumb fucks, which I get into at the end of this video. I've already done the voiceover at the end. The dumb fuck stuff, right?
You know, he could lose a lot more than that. I can tell you right now. Hey,
He could lose a lot more than that.
Elon can lose a lot more than that. I don't know. I think we'll have to take a look. We might have to put Joe.
He's saying he has to take a look to see if he can deport him. You know, the guy gave you fucking $300 million, and you're fucking going to deport him? You know, and only because he criticized you, not because he's here illegally. We'll have to take a look at that. Like, you know, this is this fucking guy. Like, this is guy who's not, that's not presidential or being so far away from being presidential or being a part of a democracy. It's like if you criticize my big, beautiful bill that I didn't write or read and had no really know what's in it, then, you know, which clearly is going to be a huge spending bill, even with cutting $1 trillion out of Medicare, it's still even, you know, it's crazily, it's going to add to the debt more than anything else that we've seen. And there's even, you know, other things with it that's dystopian. But that's the kind of piece of shit this monarch is, right? This old piece of shit right here.
Doge on Elon. You know what Doge is? Doge is the monster that might have to go back and eat Elon. Wouldn't that be terrible?
Yeah, that'd be terrible. So this is just an absolute piece of shit. You know, the Trumpers, I mean, I don't know how much they see these things or they're able to comprehend them because they're in such denial.
This morning, the Trump-Elon Musk feud is back on as lawmakers.
And so, you know, that's just fucking Trump being a piece of shit, like just an absolute piece of shit. There's no excuse for that. I mean, you know, Elon Musk is weird, and I don't know who I like better or dislike more or, you know, is a worse person. But, you know, Elon's got his fucking chipping people, and, you know, the whole Starlink thing is saturating the earth with electromagnetic pollution. I mean, a lot of shit that he's doing is not great. And, you know, who he is as a person. They're both horrible fucking people. But this isn't about any of that. This is about a guy that sacrificed a lot for you, for this guy, and you fucked him and all these people who's saying that we need to be fiscally conservative. And the economy's fucked either way. It's just about looting, like I said. But, you know, that's not, I mean, this guy promised all these people to do a certain thing, and he's not doing that. This bill is the opposite of all those things. It's the opposite of Doge. And so Elon Musk is rightfully critical of the thing. And this guy who's, you know, it's not about him writing the bill. It's about his name being associated with it because he knows nothing about it. Like if you asked him questions about what's in the bill, he'd be like, oh, just same as like when you ask him, you know, what's his favorite biblical quote? He can't answer either question because he didn't read either fucking one, right? And so, but for him to threaten to deport him and take away all these subsidies because he's critical of it, what a piece of shit. He's threatening other people publicly, just not even, you know, doing it behind closed doors. He's doing it in front of the cameras. And it's just accepted. Like that's how run down America is. There's no, you know, there's nothing there. This stuff that a president should never do. If he's going to threaten people, it should be behind closed doors. You don't do it in public. Like, you know, I mean, this is like horrible shit he's doing. You know, like it's kind of funny and it would have been good the first term because it would have exposed the hypocrisy and, you know, what's going on with the presidency. But it's horrible to do it in the second term. Because, you know, after what he got worked on COVID and he got worked on the election, that all stuff that happened and all the shit that he did and January 6th and all the other shit that followed. After 4 years of that bullshit, he reemerges a bigger piece of shit in the fake assassination attempt. And so fuck this guy, right? And he's a horrible person and he's, you know, he's so obvious. It's amazing, like how stupid people are that they could still back this guy. Like, I mean, how fucking brain dead you got to be to not see what he's saying here, what he is. He represents the opposite of, you know, everything Republicans are supposed to believe in. He's a big government fuck who's, you know, who's pushing this agenda now, of course, with the wars and the stuff he's doing with Israel and all the other things that he's doing. I mean, all the things that he was supposed to be against, and then spending money like a Democrat on crack, right? And so, like, all the things the Republicans complain about or identify with and all the things that they hate, he's embracing all the things that they hate and they can't even see it. And being a dictator, like the dictatorship stuff. I mean, he's anti-democratic. He's anti-republic. He just wants to fucking use his power to bully and threaten people when they disagree with him. And like how long before that's martial law and these other things, right? And so, he's turned into a worse nightmare than I would have ever imagined. Like he's a worse nightmare than the Democrats even imagined. Like he's gone full Trump, and it's a lot worse than we all thought it was going to be. Anyways, here's the rest of the video. President Trump speaks to reporters as he heads to Florida to visit Alligator Alcatraz. I wonder what that is.
We want to get the hostages back.
The hostages, you mean the Israeli hostages that are their business to get back? You want to get them back, do you? Because, like, they're our hostages?
A beautiful bill doesn't pass. You have to go through item by item by item and pass this stuff one at a time, or you just going to try again?
I think we're going to get there. It's tough. We're trying to break it down so it's...
He's the merch president. He's got some kind of other thing, something of America. I don't know what it said.
Really good for the country. Trying to get a lot for everybody. And it's a big bill. And
it's beautiful. He's looking old. Trump's got really old.
Smaller bills would have been easy, but they wouldn't have been as good. I think it's going to do okay.
And with the Alligator Alcatraz, is the idea that if some illegal immigrant escapes, they just get eaten by an alligator or a snake or something?
I guess that's the concept.
Gulf of America hat. Jesus Christ. What did this guy say about it?
Easy, but they wouldn't have been as good. I think it's going to do okay.
And with the Alligator Alcatraz, is the idea that if some illegal immigrant escapes, they just get eaten by an alligator or a snake or something?
I guess that's the concept.
Huh? What? They're building some kind of fucking thing where the alligators are eating illegal immigrants?
This is not a nice business. I guess that's the concept. If snakes are fast, but alligators are, but we're going to teach them how to run away from an alligator, okay? If they escape prison, how to run away. Don't run in a straight line. Run like this. And you know what? Your chances go up about 1%. Okay.
What the fuck? Is he using alligators? Like, this is getting interesting. To put it in front of prisons?
Not a good thing.
I mean, Jesus Christ. Holy shit. This is a real thing here.
So first here at 10, tomorrow is the day that an airstrip in the Everglades becomes Alligator Alcatraz. President Trump will be on hand to see it. The detention center for illegal immigrants will open with an initial wave of 1,000 migrants waiting to be deported. And this continues to be a hot button issue. Fox 13's Aaron Mesmer is live in Tampa with the very latest on this, Aaron.
Wait, let's go here.
Within a matter of days. It took less than a month for the state to get Alligator Alcatraz ready to open on Tuesday. More than 3,000 illegals can be processed through here. Governor DeSantis says the detention facility is critical to handle the 50,000 plus immigrants who have final deportation orders. Before this, there were only 3 centers in Florida with a total of 2,000 beds. What it can be...
Well, I guess it's just because it's in the Everglades, so they're saying, hey, if you run there might be alligators, which alligators don't usually eat people, so it's a bullshit thing. I thought they were using alligators like outside the facility.
I think is an effective way to increase the number of removals and deportations. The detention center will eventually feature facilities to house 5,000 detainees and hundreds of workers with drinking water, food, and sewer service trucks brought in. It's located at the Dade Collier Airport in the Everglades, which is mostly used for training and only accessible by one road or an airstrip. They ain't going anywhere once they're there unless you want them to go somewhere, because good luck getting to civilization. But even as President...
Good luck. There's alligators out there. Okay, it's kind of a bullshit thing. It'd be if they were using alligators in a moat type situation, that would be, that would be interesting. Look at this fucking guy here. Look at this fuck. Oh my God, look at him. He's falling a fucking apart here. Look at that. Look at his dead ass eyes. He's there.
Trump prepares to visit Alligator Alcatraz.
Yeah, he's coming in. All right. So I had to look this up and see if this was a real thing. And it is. These are a drone display in China. Holy shit. Now that's crazy. And so, I don't know if those are weaponized drones or what they're capable of doing other than landing in unison, but holy fuck, right? The drone warfare and the robot warfare is coming. And, one of the big issues has always been turning your military against your citizens. Like American military posse comitatus coming on the streets of America and, doing fucking that kind of martial law bullshit stuff and shooting American citizens, oftentimes in places where the soldiers themselves lived, things like that. And so that's always the issue. Like, will soldiers fire on their own people, especially now in modern day, times? It wasn't such a big deal before, in smaller countries where the military would just bully its citizens. It's one thing to fire on foreign, civilians in the fucking heat of war. It's another thing to come back to your country and go after and shoot American citizens and, or whatever it is, your country. But with robots, you don't have that problem. They have no conscience, and certainly drones similar. So, when this stuff hits, people are going to be totally disempowered because no matter how many guns you have and how much military training you have, you're fighting robots, right? That don't, you're not going against human beings, and the people who make the decisions will be hidden behind, these bunkers and shit like that. So, anyways, that's coming to a theater near you. So, Aaron Moriarty, I talked about The Boys recently, and there's a photo before and after somewhere in here, one of these videos. Right there's a photo, the thing there. She has Graves' disease. I don't know where the thing is. It was here a couple weeks when I first put it up there. It's, there's one here with Megyn Kelly here. We can see. There's her before and after. That's the after in the middle, and Megyn Kelly's on the right. But she's fucked up her face somehow. And now she has Graves' disease, which is another form of, all the stuff that we've seen. There's a better photo of it, but I didn't get to this in time. But she has it, and Graves' disease sounds a lot like stiff person syndrome, which is Ghoul's disease, right? This is where you've turned into a ghoul, and, Okay. Dustbin container in India, 1990. Tesla Cybertruck, 2023, USA. It's uncanny resemblance. So that's a great meme. Here's something else here. Let me move to. So this is coolest Destiny of Malibu with a check mark. Coolest president ever. His social media team needs a raise with his song choice.
I just want to get your attention. Hey,
So we can't hear the song, but look, here he comes out. All this stuff here. Daddy's Home. So they're doing this, that's the name of the song here. Daddy's Home. Because of that whole thing that happened in Europe with that guy calling him Daddy. Which is so fucked up, right? Daddy's Home. There he is, going up, and look at him. Coolest president ever, NATO. Daddy's Home. They're just going full dumb fuck. I don't know if these guys are. Oh, this is all music. Look at these fucking stooges they have, right? But calling them Daddy's Home. Look at Marco Rubio, little Marco. This is like this one here. This whole Gaza. Like, these are real. Both of these are posted on Trump's official Instagram page. And I know he doesn't look at shit because he doesn't look at his social media. He's got a social media team. But these things are horrific, right? So, this one is just so bad. This is much worse than Daddy's Home. But, Trump's a little bitch. Like, he's not some big tough guy kind of, whatever. He's like, he's not that guy. Like, he's a guy, he's a bully. Like, he's not, when he's in control of things. But he caves when he's under pressure and whatever. He'd fall apart when things got, like, reals, and he was, like, a part of the thing. The people who can order other people's deaths. But he's got the Gaza thing now, and he's got Daddy's Home. here. You know, like it's just so fucking WWE low consciousness for dumb fucks. Like Trump is just going full out. You know, I'm going to keep my dumb fucks happy and give them, I'm going to feed the dumb fucks, right? Trump feeding the dumb fucks. So I'm going to wrap this up here, right? But I was going to wrap it up here, but I had this idea and I want to share. I want to go back to this comment that I read yesterday. This person who's a Christian. Hi, Paul. I appreciate your years of work and the thought you put into what you share. You know, if you did that, then you would. You know, the thing about, well, let me read the whole thing. But remember that line. Like, you know, this is the why you do. I really like your stuff. And somebody who comments fairly regularly, they're donating some money. They posted this comment twice with 2 donations to, I don't know, which accumulated to $40 because they're breaking the rules and wanted me to look past it. I just wanted to share a bit from my personal experience because it's been a positive change for me. Meditation ended up pulling me into the darkness I didn't expect. The thing that rescued me was religion. It wasn't with religion. It was Jesus. Not what people said about him or what religion made of him, but what he said about himself. And, you know, if it was just that, it would be a non-comment. I said this before. But then they want me to bring me into this. Like, I want to share my personal experience. I know you've spoken about the Bible as a whole, but there's some difference about the Gospels, especially the words in the story of Jesus. Would you ever consider reading at least one of them for yourself? Maybe the Gospel of John. You're spiritually sensitive and intuitive, and there's something in his words that carries an energy unlike anything else I've experienced. No pressure at all, since a sincere invitation from one truth seeker to another. Thanks for hearing me out. I don't need that fucking invitation because I was a Christian once, right? And I read the Bible and I've read this stuff. But the reason I'm commenting about this today, because I spent a long time commenting about this yesterday. I got kind of tired out because there was a smoke incident. You know, that I get these kind of comments fairly regularly, and there's a specific thing about it. A lot of it has to do with me doing Saj Mark, but sometimes it's me bashing Trump, and not bashing Trump, just telling the truth about these things, is that there are people who recognize there's stuff going on this channel that's different. And the difference is, I mean, aside from my personal characteristics and what I bring to the table as a person, as a dyslexic person and a introvert, and with my experiences, and I'm a different type of person, right? But aside from that, which has been enhanced by the Sajmark system, it's my connection to divinity within me through the Sajmark system, which is essential. Like that's what makes this channel special. It makes it dynamic, makes the information pop, right? And it's easy to accept something when you grow up and Jesus is a known entity and is regarded by so many people, 2 billion people, and almost every American, like when I grew up. It's easy to do that. It's easy to do the stuff that people have accepted as being what you do. Whatever your cultural things are, your religion, your other things, right? But people are always scared of something new and fucking run it down because most people don't have a visionary personality. And I talked about this extensively in my last video. The video that's entitled something. Something's going on on 2025, and then also the stuff to do with the Queen's Gambit. And so you have Christians who come to my channel, and you're not going to get the kind of stuff about God and spirituality from Christians because they just don't have access to it. You're not going to get that kind of connectivity. I mean, there's been some great Christian saints and things that are, I mean, despite the shitty system and the remedial teachings of the religion, and these are all religions, they're able to ascend to a spiritual place because they have that coming in. They have that in their soul. There's some scars in their past lives of being a spiritual person, so they're able to elevate above the limitations of their religion. But still, not having a valid system, you're not going to get the kind of connectivity and insight and energy that you get from Sajmark, the meditation that I do. And, it's not what people want to hear. And, it wasn't what I was looking for. When I started it years ago, I did a yogic thing, to enhance playing basketball. So I was dating this girl. She was a nurse, and we were kind of engaged. It was a weird thing. Our relationship was like, stagnant and going south. We were friends, but it was like just about that. And she worked at a place where they test pharmaceutical drugs. And there was a doctor she worked for. Her boss was making gobs of money. And he moved into some massive house, and he had another house that was on the market. And he rented it to us at a very cheap rate. It was out in the country, beautiful house, like, better than we could afford, right? And I was waiting tables, and she was, making whatever she was making as a nurse. But we were in there, and he couldn't sell the house. It was like a down market. There's a time some guy walked into the house, like some person, because he saw the sign outside. And like, I was in the house, and I just walked up to him. He's like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't know." He's like, "There's people in here," and I just walked him out. Like, I stared. I didn't say a fucking word. And he was, and he was like running out. But anyways, we had this house, and I was, I was doing this yoga thing, and at the end of the yoga, they did you laid down and did some kind of meditation. And when I was doing that, I would do this at home, and it would meditate for like 10 minutes. I didn't really like to meditate. And there was like nausea in my heart. It was the weirdest thing. Like, I felt like I was like nauseous in my heart area. And this is long before I knew about Sajmark. I never thought about my heart. And what I know now is that I was being prepared for about a year later, I would take my first meditations. I went to this guy's house, a preceptor, and he said, sit across. I was sitting across from him. It's like a condo. And we were like 5 feet apart, and he was going to do spiritual work on me while I meditated on my heart, which is a weird thing, and this transmission was supposed to flow. And I'm like, this is, I had felt vibrations in my heart, and I just felt something special was going to happen. But other than that, it's a weird thing, right? It's a weird thing for people to do. Nobody's heard of such a thing. And, it sounds kind of like, where's this scam? When do the encyclopedias arrive? There was I think it was from that show, Taxi, whatever that show was, and some blind guy was, he said, I signed something they were trying to sell him something, or they were like trying to get him to sign something. He goes, the guy came to my door and asked me to sign something last week, and the encyclopedias arrived today. And so, it's that kind of you're like, when does the scam part come out, right? Like, that's what you would think. And so, I understand when people are introduced to something new or new ideas, they're not going to gravitate to it. But by the time you get to it, by the time, people, the dumb fucks get to it, it's already shitty. That's what I was saying in my video yesterday. The time the dumb fucks got to Jesus, Jesus had a handful of disciples, and nobody regarded him. Nobody thought he was, anything great. He was, maybe some hundreds of people with him. At times he didn't have a big following, and now it's 2 billion, but it's it's for dumb fucks now. It was for spiritual people when Jesus was alive, and so you have all these people who they like what I say here, but they wish I was a Christian. The Christians who recognize I have spiritual insights that they can't hear anywhere else, because you don't have access to it. If I was a Christian, I wouldn't be able to have those insights. And so, it's a sad state of affairs that people are just too fucking, lame in one way or another to, if they see something good and they experience something good, they still want to stick with what they've been indoctrinated into, or whatever what is accepted by society. If you're truly a truther, then you have to come up with new ideas and new paradigm, pockets of the future. You have to embrace something, different than what you've been given your whole life. You have to break out of some of these routines and molds and things. But people just don't fucking do that, right? And so now we just got dumb fuckery. Like, it's for dumb fucks. It's like TV shows and movies for dumb fucks, and, politicians for dumb fucks. People without, not just their IQs, but just a resistance to something higher or better. You know, they just want comfort, and they just want, you know, to stay stuck in a very remedial, you know, limited. You know, they don't want to embrace the vast amount of evolution that's waiting inside of them. They just want to, you know, settle down and just mediocrity and safety and all these things, and just be told everything's going to be fine, and just live mundane, loveless lives, the fucking non-dynamic lives. And then when they get in touch with a little bit of something that makes them feel alive, and, you know, it invigorates their intellect or their, you know, their spiritual capacity, they want to fucking, yeah, but it would be great if you were a Christian. You know, if I was a Christian, I'd be a dumb fuck, and I couldn't do this work that I'm doing. It would just be more dumb fuck shit that you hear from dumb fucks, right? For dumb fucks, by dumb fucks, right? You know, I mean, Trump is for dumb fucks, by dumb fucks. And that's what you see, and it's just there. And, you know, the same thing with Joe Biden and all these other people. It's not because people don't have capacity in them. They refuse to embrace it. They choose the most remedial stuff, right? They choose the, you know, the things that everyone else is doing. They don't want to be, you know, they don't want to venture outside of their very narrow bandwidth of accepted reality. And that's why human beings have been destined for failure for a long time. Anyways, let me wrap this one up here. Only spirituality will save this world. It's Paravano, definitely pointing for the apocalypse. And the ascension, everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.